Hey guys, and welcome! With update 4.1 we got several changes and improvements for Battlefield 2042, and in today's video I want to go a bit more into depth on some of the changes, but also point out a few things that were not mentioned in the patch notes and might fly under your radar. But I'm gonna start with something that was part of the notes but might not have been recognized by many players so far, and that's the change to the tracer dart. Cause now you can also designate enemy stealth helicopters with it that are in stealth mode, and then your teammates can lock onto them with the recoilless M5 or the FXM missile launcher. So the stealth mode won't protect those helis completely anymore, at least not from the tracer dart. It still needs a bit of skill and experience to hit a heli with it, but especially for those stealth ones it's definitely worth it since they are one shot to the rockets and missiles. This change does not affect the SOFLAM of course, and also not the below radar mechanic, so vehicle-based anti-air weapons can still not lock on when the heli is below 30 meters, but it's a change that might help infantry to counter these helis. In addition, the tracer dart lasts for 16 seconds now instead of 12 it did before, but this was already changed with a small update 4.0.1 that we received 2 weeks ago. I just didn't include it in any video yet. A change that was not mentioned at all on the other hand is the reload speed of the recoilless M5 and LIS TV missile launcher, cause some of you have pointed this out in the comments but were not completely sure if it's only the animation that looks more fluent now or if the actual reload is faster. So I tested it as usual and also compared it to old gameplay recordings, and yes, you're right, the reload speed of the two gadgets is indeed faster. Both launchers need about 1.5 seconds less for a reload than they did before the update, and that's definitely noticeable, especially for LIS. This adds a lot to the anti-vehicle capabilities of the engineers and makes the whole gameplay with them more agile. A gadget that also got a little buff again is Casper's drone, cause with this you can now also deal damage to claymores, C5, anti-tank mines, proximity sensors and the deployable spawn beacon of the EBLC RAM. And by dealing damage, I mean that you destroy them with one blow. That flickering here on the claymore is a new feature as well, by the way, it's not a bug, even though it looks like one. But with this change, the drone got really powerful again, cause you can now destroy all deployable gadgets with it and even deal damage to Ranger, and of course destroy it when it's low on health. And I gotta say that I've played Casper a bit more lately for the weekly missions and I really enjoyed the matches with him. One thing you should know about the newly added mechanic though is that it might not always work as intended, at least not on the AT mines. Cause here the lock-on rectangle is missing when you pull the left trigger and instead the mines only get highlighted. But the EMP blast is working and you can destroy the mines. You just never really know when the drone has fully locked on. The only hint for it are the highlighted mines. This might only be a problem on PC or might not even occur for everyone, but just in case you're wondering why the drone doesn't seem to lock onto the mines, it does, you just can't see it. I hope it gets fixed with the next update. And another specialist gadget that got changed as well is Irish Shootdown Sentinel, cause this destroys the explosive bolts of the Ghostmaker R10 now, which is pretty nice. But it does not destroy C5 anymore, which is actually also pretty nice, because it could be really frustrating when you snuck up to a tank but they were protected by 2 sentinels, and as soon as you had thrown your C5 it was already gone. So this mechanic is not existing anymore, and C5 is an efficient counter for tanks and Irish Sentinel again, but the explosives of the crossbow are on the blacklist now. Same goes for the healing capabilities of Falk's red pistol, cause apparently the devs didn't really like that she was able to repair the robot dog Ranger from distance with it. So this mechanic was removed as well. I had pointed it out in one of my tips and tricks videos a few months ago, and I always found that this was a pretty cool feature, especially in the thick of the battle where it's really hard to command Ranger to position and then repair it with a tool. And honestly, I haven't had the feeling that this mechanic was abused and loads of players were even using it, so no idea where this had to go. But that's actually not the only thing that was removed from Ranger, cause you are also not able to use it as additional teammate when capturing flags anymore. This must have been silently removed with one of the last updates already, but I just recognized it now, cause before you could even send Ranger to an objective area on its own and it started to capture the flag. And when you were on the flag yourself, the robot counted as additional teammate, so capturing and neutralizing neutralizing was a lot faster. But now Ranger does not have an effect at all on the objective, no matter if it's alone or with you. So the only thing it does now is targeting enemies and shooting at them. A bit sad to see some of these neat little features be taken away from the game, but I think that's just how it works out sometimes. A change that is very welcome on the other hand is that smoke grenades do now also work on and underwater, no matter how deep the water is. This is really helpful to cover yourself when trying to attack the ship objectives on Manifest, for example, especially on Breakthrough. This also works with the smoke grenade launcher and the smoke on the barrel launcher, which makes these gadgets even better than they already are. A gadget that was heavily nerfed on the other hand are the armor plates, cause these do not protect your complete body anymore, but instead only your torso. At least that's how it was written in the patch notes, but since I never trust the notes 100% and I was curious how big the protection zone is now, I tested it out. And what's still protected is everything from above the knee up to the neck and from shoulder to shoulder. So it's not only the upper body, but also the upper part of the legs, and when you hit the arm that is in front of the torso but not the actual chest of the soldier, it will also still be protected by the plates. The rest of the body, however, receives normal damage, so all shots to the lower legs and arms as well as headshots. The amount of protection that is added with the armor plates was not changed and also not their overall functionality. I wish I could also say the same about sniper rifles though, but here there was a change made and probably not one snipers love to hear. Cause with update 4.1 a dispersion penalty was added when the player is moving while shooting with the sniper rifle, and this means your weapon will be less accurate. So if you're one of those players who like to strafe while shooting or likes to play a more aggressive sniper, this got a bit harder now. But it's of course only in the moment you take a shot. Between shots it doesn't matter how much you move and also when aiming down sights, but in the moment you pull the trigger you need to stand still. And the big question for snipers might now be if you should change the setup on your rifles or not, especially when you use the LWG grip that is made for players who move when shooting, or the laser sight that increases the hipfire accuracy. Cause since the one-shot body shot range was removed for all sniper rifles, except the NTW of course, and now there's this penalty when moving, it might not be worth it to play an aggressive sniper anymore. But I would wait with changing setups cause it still depends on your personal playstyle and skills. So if you always preferred to play aggressive and strafe when shooting, stick to it and stick to the LWG grip, because this one will give you a little bit of the accuracy back that you lose with the penalty. If you barely move on the other hand and you are mostly static when shooting, you might be better off with the Cobra grip, because it gives you the additional accuracy for this playstyle and you can also take advantage of not triggering the penalty. Or if you are like me and your playstyle is somewhere in between, I would recommend to use the BCG Light Grip instead, because this gives you a general accuracy boost when aiming down sights, what surely most players do with a sniper rifle, but it doesn't depend on the movement. So check your setups and see if they still fit your playstyle and try to get used to standing still when taking a shot. You will definitely benefit from this. And as a last mechanic that was added, or actually a new XP event, there is Objective Fortified. And this gets triggered every time you place an ammo or med crate, claymore, mine, insertion beacon, Crawford's turret, Irish sentinel, and actually all other kinds of deployable gadgets on a friendly objective area. This means the objective has to be fully captured by your team and you are not just about to capture it or neutralize it. It has to be blue. Then you will receive additional 10 XP, but the event is a little bit lazy, so it might show up with a delay. Especially when you place several gadgets shortly after one another, like Blasco's infiltration device and the insertion beacon, for example. The only gadget that doesn't work at all here is Angel's supply drop, probably because it's not actually deployed but called in. And when you revive one of your teammates on an objective your team is holding in Breakthrough, you will also receive additional XP with an event that is called Objective Revive. And as a last point for today, some of you have said that they have the feeling that Crawford's turret overheats faster on the two old-gen consoles, PS4 and Xbox One. So I tested the time you can fire the turret on all three versions of the game, and yes, You're right, the turret overheats a lot faster on old gen, cause here you can only fire it for about 4 seconds, while on PC and current gen, this time is at about 7 seconds. Not sure if that's a bug or if it is intended, but it wasn't mentioned somewhere in the patch notes and also won't make much sense to have this much of difference between the two versions. So it will hopefully get fixed with the next update as well. And now I hope you are still watching, cause there's something else that I forgot to include and I squeezed it in here after I had actually finished the video already, but then read a question about it in the comments, and that's for the range of Dozer's Mastery. So what does close distance kills mean? And I tried it out with my usual target, and all kills that are within a range of 20 meters count here. So you don't have to be at point blank. It's also the distance within which most gunfights on objective areas happen, and you can use every weapon you want to, no matter if it's an AR, sniper, SMG or any other weapon, including melee weapons. This makes the mastery of this specialist a lot easier and might be a motivation for some players to use him. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video and it brought some interesting changes to your attention, and if that's the case, be sure to drop a like or a comment below and subscribe to the channel to stay tuned for more content like this. Until then, thanks for watching and thanks to my members for the additional support. I'm the Catwoman and you are awesome.